On the surface, the Las Vegas Strip still shines like a jewel in the desert. Towering hotels glitter with neon lights, luxury suites promise world-class comfort, and advertisements showcase smiling tourists living their best lives. But behind this glamorous facade lies a growing controversy, one that's shaking the trust of some of the Strip's most valuable visitors, Chinese tourists. Before the pandemic, nearly 300,000 Chinese travelers visited Las Vegas each year, spending heavily on hotel shopping and entertainment. They were seen as VIP guests who brought prestige and profit. But now, many of those same visitors are sharing a very different story. From $400 hotel rooms that jump to $550 with hidden resort fees, to $99 buffets and $25 cocktails. Their experiences are sparking outrage on Weibo and Douyin. Some even claim that Las Vegas feels more expensive than New York or Tokyo, a shocking reversal of its old reputation as a city of affordable luxury. The Strip's hotels may look dazzling on the outside, but inside they've become the center of a heated debate. Are these world-famous resorts symbols of American hospitality, or cleverly disguised traps designed to drain wallets? And more importantly, if Chinese tourists are already turning away, what does that mean for the future of Las Vegas itself? For decades, Las Vegas positioned itself as a must-see stop for international travelers, especially Chinese tourists. By 2019, nearly 300,000 Chinese visitors came to Las Vegas, making China one of the most important overseas markets for the city. These tourists weren't just casual visitors. They were some of the Strip's biggest spenders, booking luxury suites, shopping for designer brands, and gambling at high-stakes tables. For casino executives, the influx of Chinese money was proof that Las Vegas wasn't just America's playground, it was a global icon. But the Vegas that Chinese tourists encounter in 2025 looks very different. According to the Las Vegas Convention and Visitors Authority, the average daily hotel rate in 2024 hit $198, with weekend prices soaring to over $380 per night. Factor in mandatory resort fees of $40, $60 per night, plus parking fees of $15, $25 per day, and a 3-night stay for a family can easily exceed $1,000 before they've even set foot in a casino. Dining, once a highlight of the Vegas experience, has also changed dramatically. Buffets that were once legendary for offering endless food at low prices have now transformed into luxury spreads. At Caesar's Palace, the Bacchanal buffet charges $79.99 per person, while high-end options at the Wynn approach $100. A family of 4 could spend nearly $400 on a single buffet meal, an amount that shocks Chinese tourists who are used to affordable but lavish dining in Macau. Even basic meals on the Strip now cost $30 or more per person, leaving many visitors feeling taken advantage of. The controversy becomes sharper when comparing Las Vegas with Macau. In Macau, casino resorts are equally luxurious, but generally offer clearer pricing structures with fewer hidden charges. Chinese tourists often remark that while Macau is glamorous, at least they know what they are paying for. In Vegas, however, the layering of resort fees, parking costs, and inflated food prices feels deliberately deceptive. The bigger picture reveals a dangerous paradox. Visitor numbers from China have not recovered to pre-pandemic levels, and the gap is being filled by fewer, wealthier American travelers and convention-goers. But by chasing short-term profits, the Strip may be alienating the very international visitors that once fueled its prestige. And so, the question becomes unavoidable: if Las Vegas loses the trust of Chinese tourists, the same travelers who once saw the Strip as a dream destination, can the city still claim to be a true global capital of entertainment? For many Chinese tourists, the frustration with Las Vegas begins the moment they arrive at their hotels. They book what looks like a $199 per night room online, only to discover at checkout that the final bill is closer to $260 or $280. The culprit: resort fees, mandatory charges ranging from $40 to $60 per night, plus taxes. On Chinese social media platforms like Weibo and Douyin, travelers share screenshots of these surprise bills, calling them junk fees and warning others to be cautious. In a culture where transparent pricing is expected, the sudden jump in costs feels less like hospitality and more like deception. Parking adds another shock. In Macau, gamblers and tourists often park for free, especially if they are spending money inside casinos. In Las Vegas, however, most major strip resorts now charge $15 to $25 per day for parking, even for hotel guests. A Chinese family renting a car for a week can see hundreds of dollars vanish before they've even stepped inside a casino. One Douyin influencer broke down his bill on camera. Hotel $600 resort fees, $200 parking, $140 Vegas charged me $940 before I even touched a slot machine. His video went viral, sparking thousands of angry comments. The gaming floor, once the centerpiece of the Vegas experience, has also left many tourists disillusioned. Chinese gamblers are accustomed to straightforward odds in Macau, but on the Strip they encounter Triple Zero Roulette, a version of the game with 3 green zero slots that dramatically tilt the odds in favor of the house. Casinos market it as innovation, but players see it as exploitation. In Macau, at least you have a fair chance, one Chinese tourist complained online. In Vegas, they're laughing at you while you lose. Dining, too, no longer feels like a treat. Legendary buffets, once priced under $20, are now luxury events costing $79 to $99 per person. For Chinese tourists, many of whom consider buffets an essential Vegas experience, the new price tags feel outrageous. Viral posts on Weibo compare receipts from Las Vegas buffets to Michelin-starred restaurants in Shanghai, pointing out that the value no longer makes sense. Even simple meals add to the frustration. A bowl of noodles on the Strip can cost $25 or $30, shocking visitors used to paying a fraction of that back home. Entertainment completes the series of shocks. Shows that once cost $60, $80 now routinely demand $150 to $250 per ticket, with VIP packages soaring into the thousands. Families that once flocked to Cirque du Soleil productions are now skipping them altogether, citing prices that rival Broadway in New York. On Chinese travel forums, users advise each other, save your money for Macau, shows it's cheaper and closer. What stings the most is the feeling of betrayal. Chinese tourists were once treated like VIPs, courted with marketing campaigns and direct flights. Now they feel like targets of an economic trap. They expected world-class entertainment, but they didn't expect hidden fees, overpriced meals, and worse odds at the tables. And so, the question lingers, are these shocks just growing pains of a recovering tourism industry, or are they evidence that Las Vegas has permanently turned its back on the very visitors who once made it shine? Behind the shimmering lights of the Strip, the most telling stories come not from the executives in corporate offices, but from the people who live and work inside this machine, and from the very tourists who feel its bite. Their voices cut through the glamour, exposing the growing divide between the image Las Vegas sells and the reality it delivers. Hotel staff admit that Chinese tourists are among the most shocked by hidden fees. A front desk worker at a major Strip property said they think the price online is the price they'll pay. When the bill jumps 30 to 40%, they look at us like we tricked them. I feel embarrassed explaining fees I know they didn't agree to. Some guests argue angrily, others simply pay and vow never to return, but the damage to trust is already done. Tour guides who specialize in Mandarin-speaking groups echo this frustration. Before the pandemic, Las Vegas was the crown jewel of their West Coast itineraries. Now they say clients increasingly request to skip it. They'd rather spend more time in San Francisco, Los Angeles, or even San Diego, one guide admitted. They don't want to be humiliated by hidden charges. They tell me Vegas feels like a trap. Chinese tourists themselves have been blunt in their online reviews. One traveler posted a viral Weibo thread showing his $1 $200 bill for 3 nights in a supposedly mid-range hotel. The breakdown room, $600 resort fees, $180, parking $120, food $300 sparked outrage. I could live like royalty in Macau for this money, he wrote. But in Vegas, I felt cheated. On Douyin, another influencer filmed herself leaving a buffet after realizing dinner for 2 would cost nearly $200. Her caption, "Las Vegas is for the rich, not for us." Even casino employees noticed the shift. Dealers say Chinese gamblers, once among the most enthusiastic high rollers, now play cautiously. They complain about Triple Zero Roulette, about the odds, about how everything feels designed to make them lose faster, one dealer revealed. They're not smiling anymore. They're calculating every cent. Bartenders confirm the same trend. Tourists who used to tip generously now order fewer drinks, shocked at paying $25 for a cocktail. Locals who interact daily with Chinese visitors see something deeper than just complaints about prices. They see disappointment. Chinese tourists came here to feel special? One Las Vegas resident explained. They expected to be treated like VIPs because that's how they're treated in Macau. Instead, they feel like walking wallets. That's not just expensive, it's insulting. The most haunting part of these testimonies is the recurring theme of broken trust. It's not simply that prices are high, it's that the experience no longer feels honest. And when trust is gone, no amount of neon lights can bring it back. If hotel workers, tour guides, and the tourists themselves are all sounding the alarm, then a darker question remains: if the Strip is already losing its grip on Chinese visitors, what bigger secrets are still lurking behind those glittering hotel walls? If the complaints of Chinese tourists sound exaggerated, the lawsuits tell a different story. Much of what frustrates international visitors has already been exposed in American courtrooms, where Strip hotels and casinos have been forced to defend their business practices. The evidence shows that the high costs are not random. They are engineered, protected, and in many cases deliberately hidden. The most infamous battle is over resort fees. In 2023, the Federal Trade Commission and multiple state attorneys general sued major Strip operators like MGM and Caesars, accusing them of deceptive advertising. Guests booked hotel rooms at advertised rates only to be blindsided by mandatory fees of $40 to $60 per night added at checkout. Internal documents revealed during the lawsuits were shocking. At some properties, resort fees made up 25% of total hotel revenue. Executives knew these charges were hated, but they also knew they were too profitable to eliminate. For Chinese tourists who are used to Macau's more transparent pricing, this practice feels like outright fraud. Travel blogs in Beijing often reference these lawsuits as proof that Las Vegas doesn't respect its customers. One article bluntly asked, if American courts say these fees are deceptive, why should we trust the hotels at all? But resort fees are just the beginning. Class action lawsuits have accused Strip resorts of bait and switch tactics, where the final price after taxes and fees can be 30 to 50% higher than the advertised rate. In some cases, leaked emails showed marketing executives admitting they purposely kept initial prices low to appear competitive against other global destinations. To tourists, it's manipulation. To corporations, it's strategy. Employees have also turned to the courts. In 2024, groups of hotel workers filed suits alleging wage theft and unfair scheduling, claiming corporations cut labor costs to help fund billion-dollar projects like the $2.3 billion Sphere and the Formula One Grand Prix. For Chinese tourists who often arrive during peak event seasons, these projects mean even higher room rates and more congestion, while workers themselves suffer behind the scenes. Then there are the secrets hidden in financial disclosures. For the first time in Las Vegas, history corporate filings revealed that non-gaming revenue surpassed 50% of total Strip income. That means casinos now earn more from restaurants, shows, and fees than from gambling. To shareholders, this is a triumph. To Chinese tourists, it's confirmation that every drink, every meal, and every night's stay is designed not as hospitality, but as extraction. Perhaps the most telling secret comes from the travel industry itself. Several major Chinese tour agencies that once partnered with Las Vegas resorts have quietly reduced or canceled their contracts. Agents report that too many clients complained about hidden fees and overpriced services, making Vegas harder to sell. Instead, agencies now push packages to Macau, Singapore, or even Japan destinations that promise luxury without the same sense of deception. What ties these stories together is secrecy. Court settlements are sealed, non-disclosure agreements, gag whistleblowers, and marketing campaigns drown out bad press. But the fragments that leak into the public domain are enough to paint a chilling picture. Las Vegas hotels are not simply expensive, they are controversial by design. And so, a darker question emerges: if the Strip is willing to fight in court, conceal financial truths, and sacrifice trust for profit, what other secrets are still buried beneath those glittering hotel towers? The fallout from Las Vegas's hidden costs and soaring prices is already visible, and Chinese tourists are at the center of it. Before the pandemic, they made up one of the Strip's most valuable international markets, arriving in large tour groups and spending heavily on shopping, dining, and gambling. But in recent years, those numbers have plummeted. Airlines that once operated direct flights from Beijing and Shanghai to Las Vegas have quietly cut routes, citing lack of demand. Tour guides who specialized in Mandarin-speaking groups say their bookings are down sharply. The message is clear: Chinese travelers no longer see Vegas as the shining destination it once was. The economic consequences ripple outward. Luxury retailers on the Strip, high-end boutiques selling handbags, watches, and jewelry report weaker sales without the influx of Chinese tourists. Casinos feel the pinch at their high-stakes tables, where Chinese gamblers once spent freely. Even entertainment venues, once crowded with international visitors, now depend more heavily on American convention-goers. The Strip still glitters, but the balance of who sustains it has shifted, and not for the better. Meanwhile, rival destinations are benefiting. Macau, Singapore, and even Tokyo are attracting Chinese tourists who once flocked to Vegas. These cities offer comparable luxury experiences, but with clearer pricing and cultural familiarity. For many Chinese travelers, the decision is simple: why endure hidden fees and inflated bills in Nevada when luxury lies just a few hours' flight away in Asia? Looking to the future, two stark scenarios emerge. The first is bleak. If Las Vegas refuses to change course, the Strip could become a playground reserved only for wealthy Americans and select international elites. Ordinary tourists, especially Chinese visitors who once fueled the city's prestige, will vanish. The Strip may survive financially for a while, but it risks losing its global reputation. The comparison to Atlantic City looms large, a once famous gambling hub that collapsed when it alienated too many of its customers. The second scenario offers a glimmer of hope. If corporations and Nevada lawmakers take action by capping resort fees, enforcing transparent pricing, and rebuilding trust, Chinese tourists might return. Travel agencies in Beijing and Shanghai say there is still demand to see Las Vegas. People want the experience, but they want it without the deception. A course correction could re-establish Vegas as a must-see stop on global itineraries, restoring both its revenue and its reputation. The danger is that time may be running out. Trust once broken is not easily rebuilt. Chinese tourists are already turning elsewhere, and the longer Las Vegas delays reform, the harder it will be to win them back. And so the haunting question remains: will the Strip recognize the cost of chasing short-term profits, or will Las Vegas gamble away one of its most important international relationships for good? The Las Vegas Strip still glitters under the desert sky, its hotels towering like monuments to wealth and indulgence. But as we've uncovered, behind those shimmering walls lies a growing controversy. Chinese tourists, once among the city's most prized guests, are now questioning whether the experience is worth the price. From hidden resort fees and $99 buffets to $25 cocktails and rigged roulette tables, their stories reveal a painful truth. The Strip's luxury has been built on practices that feel less like hospitality and more like exploitation. This isn't just about money, it's about trust. Chinese visitors expect it to be welcomed as VIPs, yet many leave feeling deceived. Their complaints echo across social media. Travel agencies cut Las Vegas from itineraries, and rival destinations like Macau and Singapore step in to claim the business Vegas once dominated. If this trend continues, Sin City risks not only losing revenue, but also its global reputation as the world's premier playground. So the question is unavoidable: if Las Vegas can no longer satisfy the very tourists who once defined its prestige, what does that say about the future of the Strip? Can a city built on illusions survive when the illusion is broken? Because maybe the controversy behind these glamorous hotels isn't just a side story, It's the warning sign that the neon empire of Las Vegas is already cracking.